Okay, so I think we are live now. So, hi everyone, welcome back to our API week with Postman. I hope you're enjoying the week so far and learning many new things. I'm Ayush Sahu, a Postman student leader from Sri Shankaracharya Technical Campus. I'll be your host for the evening. Now, this live stream is on API flows and visualizations, and we are thrilled to introduce you to our speaker, Pradumna Saraf, a Postman student leader and a well known face in the open source community. A lot of you may already know. Pradumna has tons of experience in API testing and visualization. He is renowned for his valuable contributions to the community, Twitter, and other platforms. In this session, he will guide you through the basics of using flows in Postman to automate your API testing and how to create custom visualizations for your API response. Now, Postman flows are relatively a new feature but are super helpful and useful for the developers. You'll learn how to set up a basic flow, run it, and share your visualizations with your team. We also want to remind you that Challenge 2 of API Week is currently underway and requires building workflows with APIs, and you will be sharing the workspace links for that. By participating in this challenge, you'll not only have the opportunity to win some exciting goodies, but also improve your API development skills massively. So I think we are good to go, and let's begin this exciting session with Pradumna Saraf and learn from an industry expert how to streamline your API testing process and visualize your API response in a better way. Just a reminder, if you want to ask anything, drop the doubts in the chat, and Pradumna will help you out with anything. Don't forget to catch up with him after the session for more insights and valuable information. So grab a cup of coffee, join the conversation. Let's dive into the world of API development together. So Pradyumna, if you're ready, I'll give the virtual mic to you and you can start the session. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you for the intro. First of all, Ayush, yeah, it's a great to be here. And like, if you like, could start sharing my screen, I will give an intro about me. Yeah. So,
Yep.
so yeah, like today's session is like about getting started with flows. Like Postman recently introduced flows. It is a like as Ayush mentioned, it is a great feature to visualize your response. Like your post response, your get response, any kind of response, like different methods. I hope you like have a prior experience because you there are really great sessions happen like in past week about like 101 and 102. So yeah, like I will like go ahead and introduce myself. Like who am I? Like I'm a DevOps and Go developer. Open source evangelism. I talk about open source, like about literacy and inclusivity. And yeah, I am an Postman leader. So basically, a Postman flow, as I mentioned, like Postman flow is a way to visualize your data better. So what do you mean by visualizing your data better? So when you like create a request, you get a response. So response contains many things like header as well as body, and body can be too complicated, like different have different objects, and different objects have different key and parameters. So to visualize the important stuff out of those requests, response from the request, Postman flow is a good way to do that. So yeah, so let's see in action. So I will head over to like my Postman flow, like Postman workspace. Hope my screen is visible. Okay. just I will stop sharing my screen here, and I will share my Postman thing. Okay, just give me a second.
Yep, sure, no problem.
Okay, share into screen. Hope you're able to. Sorry for the background noise. Yeah, so hope you are able to see my Postman workspace screen.
Yep, it's visible.
I hope you have a basic understanding of like Postman and Postman flow, how the workspace is created and how a request is work. So request is like I will stop sharing again here and just give you a second about the slides which I made about what are the resources we will going to use. Like let me just share one slide again. Okay, so we will, as I mentioned about the prerequisite. So in the Postman flow, we will use an API called like REST countries. The reason to use this API is that it does not require an API key and login to keep the process easy during the session because API key can be challenging to like generate and what to say get some, because some API key restriction there is like you get API keys after 4 or 5 minutes. I don't want to do that. That's why I created a taken very simple example of REST API countries. So like I will share in the chat the link. Feel free to copy that. Okay, let me just copy that. Okay, I'm unable to copy that. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay. Yep. I have shared in the uh, private chat, and I usually will share with you in the chat. Yeah. So I will like stop sharing my screen and share my Postman um, app screen. Just give me a second. Yep. I hope you are able to see my screen, Postman app. Are you able to see my Postman app
Yep,
screen?
it's good. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so like first, like we will start very basic, like create a collection. Like just we will name this collection as a test, just for testing, and we will like add a simple request with the get. As I mentioned, we will use a simple API and about the REST countries, which provides you data about the country, the capital, and something like that. So okay, I see there is an error with the copying the URL. You can just remove the percent thing and it will be good. Because I think I copied from Canva. That's why there is a issue with that. So just remove the percent sign. I will reshare this again. Okay. Okay, I will reshare this again with the, okay. Okay. Yeah. So basically like here we can just for a testing purposes we can just change you can see there's a parameter called country. You can just change a country name. So when we like hit the URL, and you can see we will get the data for the country and the what is the alt tag for that region, and there are some more data which is about area and the population. Yeah, so these are the bunch of data which will be visualized better with the flows. So this is a, I hope you are able to access this API. I will like wait for 1 to 2 minutes to let everyone like trigger their workspace and create a basic get request for that. You can stop sharing screen for a minute. Yeah. The thing is that I am unable to like share the Postman screen only, so there's an issue with that. So like if like in the audience everyone is like set up with a basic collection and created a basic get request, just give me a thumbs up and just Ayush, let me know like some people are ready with that. Then we can like proceed forward with the like. I just want to like the audience work in the same way, like getting hands on with the session. That's why I will wait for certain time and then show the process how you can visualize your data with the flows and how to create a flow. Yeah.
Yep, I think everyone has attended the previous API 101 and 102 sessions, so they are probably
Mhm.
familiar with creating collections and making GET request. So yeah, waiting a few minutes and then you can continue.
Yeah, absolutely. We will wait for 1 to 2 minutes. I don't want to rush and just take the session in very chill way. Yeah. So I think we can proceed with the like we can start resharing.
Yep, folks, if you have any queries, you can drop them in the chat and we can help you
Yeah.
out with that.
So like in your Postman bar on the sidebar, you can just see that there is a new feature called flows. When you click on the flows, you will like get treated with this kind of window. So you can like create flow from here, or there's a plus button. You can also create from that. So just if you click on the flow, so it will ask for a name. So you can just like give it a name, or you can leave it. So this is the basic, and like this is a like landing window for your flows. So this is a plain canvas where you like do your own stuff and create a flow. So it is a plain canvas, and where you can like there are a bunch of tools like uh, you can just build on top of that. So like we just create we use Canva and we use some like art tool, something like that. It is something like that, just create your own way. So this is a starting block. This is where like your flows get triggered. So generally start after the start block we have a like request block. So what is a request block? So you already work with the collections, so you have a get request, you have a post request. Similar to in the flows, when we create a when we create a request here, like I will just add URL again. Okay, I will save it. Okay, so just like as you created a post request or get request in your collection, you can head over to flow and you will find that you are able to access that request. You can see over here our request is already started showing up here. You can see we created a new request here, so it started showing up here. So for the just basic sake of like understandability, I will just create an output for now just to see what kind of data we are getting for that out of that. So yeah, if we run like send request, yeah, so you can see the output log is for like outputting the data. It can be any format, it can be on text format, number format, boolean format, any format. So here we like starting the here we started and we just send a request and we are just outputting a data. So this is a success case and there are failure case. There are chances that there is a API key, the API key is not very authenticated, or your request is not very succeeded due to the excess amount of time. And there are multiple reasons which can be, for example, you have hit the wrong route. So those are case for the failure. We can also add a failure bug. We will leave for that now. We will but add them at the later point of time. So you can see in the body we also receive the same kind of data with all the keys, with the name, currency, religion, and everything, which we get in the during our normal request when we hit in the Postman workspace. So flows are
Pradyumna,
nothing different.
sorry to interrupt. Can you zoom in a bit so that the audience can see more
Okay,
clearly?
okay. Thank you for the clarity. Thank you for yeah. So yeah, let me go through it once again. So basically, as I mentioned, there's always a start block. Start block is where like the flows get triggered and you do some activity after that. So basically, after the start block, we generally prefer the request block. So as I mentioned, the request can come from our already created collection, which we already created a new request. So we just added a new request. So there's a two cases when you send a request. We all know that your request might fail or your request might get a success. So in the success case, we already know we will receive some data. So to visualize the data for now, I just created output block. Use the output block, not created. Use the output block. So block can contain any kind of data. So we are using JSON data. We are getting JSON data. That's why we are using the JSON format. If we are getting text format, number format, we can use literally anything. So here's the thing, like this sounds all good. Like we are getting the request. This is very similar to this thing, but where the things come into the play, like where the flows, the real power of flows come into play. So like we started the get block, I put aside to get things cleared up. We will delete output block for now, and we will use select block. So the select block is like a really cool thing. Like if you have used JavaScript, you used to use dot notation to filter out the data, to get inside an object or filter out any key from which is which are in hierarchical format. You can understand, like as I mentioned, you can see over here. So we have, just let me show it. So in body, we have a a object at the 0th position. Inside we have name. So you can see the hierarchical position, the depthness of the key. So to filter out those things, we use select. So as you like click on the select, you can see we started getting all the keys. So just for sake of understandability, we will just use some key called, let me scroll down. Okay, we have one key called population, I guess. Yep, we have one key called population. So like we can output the data. So for population, so you can see we just filter out the data from the complete response data to a single data which is usable. So it does not make any sense to like use the complete data. This is where the power of flows comes in. Like we can filter out bunch of data which are really necessary for the visualization. You can see we just filter out population from like the complete response, and we can just output in form of number. So this is how the flows work, like getting response and filtering out the data and getting in the desirable format. So this is how the flows goes. So like there's one more thing I want to share, like about the flows. Like for example, there can be cases like your response data contains URL, but there is no way to visualize that. I can assure you like there is no way you can render links. Like for example, your JSON data contains a link to a picture or link to a image in URL format. There is no way you can visualize that link is working or not. But not anymore. In the flow, you can also do that very quickly. I will show you that thing as well. How you can visualize a link with a PNG and render it here in the flows itself. Let me show you. So we have one more key, like in the, no, sorry. Sorry, I am doing for the failure part. Yep. So we can like create a bunch of selects. Like there is no restriction for that. We can also chain the multiple things, but we are trying to keep things simple. That's why I'm creating multiple select. So we have one more like object called flags. So it contains flag in like JPG form, like I think in JPG and SVG format. So, but the PNG thing is that it is in URL. So this is a good way to visualize any URLs working or not. So let me show you that. Yeah. So no, we have flag. This contains the emoji. So I will skip that and I will find the object. Yeah, this is the thing. So you can understand that we will get data in URL format. I will also show you here as well. Like in the success case, if we go inside the body, go inside the keys, so we can see the flags. Only the flags is in emoji format. But if I will just zoom a bit for that. You can see the flags in just an emoji format. But if we go inside the flags object, we can see there's a PNG, there's a SVG and alt. So I think there is a no way you can visualize the PNG thing. You have to go copy paste and just paste in the browser and see the data. But in the flows, we can visualize from here as well. So as you output the data, like output, and you can just select the image thing. Yep. And now see the magic. Yes, you can visualize your URL as well. So this is the really cool thing about the flows. Like you can literally visualize anything, like be it image, be it markdown, video, YouTube, anything. So this is comes in handy. Like for example, if you have bunch of data and you want to go through the data and just to test out which URL is broken or not. So in this way, you can just render out the data. It can be like, as I mentioned, it can be image or video. So this way, how can you can visualize an URL as well. So I will do one more thing over here. I will just delete this thing and let me show you one more thing. Like like we talk about the visualization. So sometimes we compare the data. So I will do one more thing before like proceeding with this. We are just using the data as a India. So I will just create a set a variable for that so that we can change the country naming, what to say, in the flows and make the data more dynamic. Like for example, we can hit for China, we can hit for France, Italy, etc., etc. So I will just set a new variable called country, COUNTRY. Okay, that sounds cool, and this is a global variable. So now the thing is that like in the flows, now we can literally set a variable for a country. We will just give it a refresh. Okay, okay, I should save it first. Okay, so if we go inside the flows, we'll just hit, yeah, you can see now we have a variable, like we can change the data dynamically. So for example, if we hit for China, first we, like for example, you can see over here we have a country, but first we have to tell the flows what kind of data we are expecting, what data we are trying to provide. So when you click over here, you will find strings. So basically, country name should be in string, it can be integer. So that's why we selected the string over here, and we can use China for that, like for a example, just to see the dynamic data, like the data is changing or not. Okay, yes, we are getting population for China. We can hit for like, okay, so no, we can hit for France. Yep, we are hitting for the France. So why I done this in the use dynamic data to, like, to visualize some more data, like what we can do on the top of this. So let me change this from gauge. So gauge is a thing which shows you, depending on your parameter or depending on your like threshold you have set, it will show up, like it will show how much inclination is there. The more the inclination, the more like percentage of the thing. So for example, the world population is like 150, like, no, we will take a what to say, maximum threshold of 150 crores. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. The reason I did that, I will let you know. Just give me a second. So, for example, India. Take first India as example and change the gauge to, sorry, just change the gauge color to green. So, yes. So you can, this is like we set the maximum threshold to 150 crores. You can understand with the gauge, India is very close to highest number of population. But what about France? So you can like literally visualize the data, like which data is coming, like is it more, it is less. So this is the data visualization come into play. Like even the title of the talk, visualize your data better, this is how we visualize your data better, like which data is like high, which data is low. And literally you can plot graphs as well, like with multiple data, but we will not get into that. But this is a basic set, like how you can set a threshold, and depending on your dynamic data, you can change the data and see which data is higher, which data you can see China is higher than India. So like take another example of like what to say, Italy, ITLY. Yep, depending on the number of population we get, the gauge is changing itself. So like, so one thing we can do more, like currently there's an issue, like it's really hard to read this number, like 59 crores. So we can use some Postman features. There is a one feature called evaluate. So uh, so we can visualize your data better. So uh, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Can you just give me a second?
Yeah, no issues.
Yeah, you can resharing this. Yeah, start resharing. Yeah. So yeah, so we can evaluate the data. So yeah, we are getting just give me a second. Okay. So what we have done is that taking this value and using evaluate block. So what evaluate block does, like, you can take the data and change the data accordingly. For example, here we are getting a population number. So what we can do is like uh, we can add two numbers. Literally, we can add two numbers or subtract two numbers, but we are not interested in the data which is not currently available. We are interested in the data which what we are getting from the previous previous method. So we just use the value and just you can see as we write the value, it started showing up. So we can just literally divide this value with uh, like with crore. So what will happen that it will change the data accordingly, and it will much easier to visualize for us. Like you can see the final, like it is in crore, like 59 crores. So this is where evaluate like a block comes in. You can evaluate in the sense like you can transform your data accordingly, like add certain thing or reduce something certain thing depending on your use case. So what we did right now, like it's really hard to count the numbers like in crores. So we just divided that complete data which we are getting from the population key, and just dividing with the crore. So what we will get, like 59 crore, 60 crore, 130 crores. So now we will like just output the data. So yep, you can see now the data is in crores. So what we will do, do the similar thing, like set up the gauge, and this time let's set up the gauge for 150 crores. The reason I am setting 150 because China has a maximum population of 140 crores, so it makes sense to have something near figure of the largest population. So that's why I choose 150 crores as a data, as 150 crore as a threshold for that, or maximum value for that. So we can also rename these things, we can set for population for shortcut like pop, and we can use them it's way dynamic. You can change according to you. And really one thing one thing I want to point out is that, like, when you like hover over the point of this thing, the output side of thing, you can literally see what data can what data has come after, like after the data is proceeded from that block. So you can see here we can see that the response data. Here we can also see, sometimes you have to click over that. So here you can see after processing it is converting into crore. You can see 59.53. So you can see the process data by just hovering over that semicircle or something like that. So we have again set the gauge, and now let's try for like India again. So just run for India. Okay, we have done something wrong. Okay, okay, I think we have put the 6 zeros. Okay, that was my bad. So we have to put 7 zeros because in crores we have 7 zeros. So the total number of population we are getting, and we are just dividing with 1 crore to get data in like 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, something like that. So you can now see, yeah, 138 crores. So like about the China. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we have getting 140 crores. So like this is the like basic set of evaluation. Like you can do one more thing. Like for example, uh, you want to like manipulate some data. That can be a possibility sometimes. What to say, you are getting some data, but you want to add something top of that. It can be some number, or it can be like in terms of string, it can be some string, but here we are dealing with the number, so we will talk about number. So for example, if you want to uh, add uh, the population with certain uh, 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 sorry, so for example, if you are like adding over one, like divided by 1 crore, but at the end you want to add like 150 extra, so we will just use number. And like you can see, we can just change to number, and we can literally add that as num. So you can see after the okay, this use the BODMAS tool, that's why it will add up in that. But uh, for a different visualization, we will just reduce that thing, and we will just use uh, like something more which we can add, just to show you how things data gets changed. Just let me show you. You can see the output. So this is a like population of the China plus this thing. Like for example, if we put 0, the data will change. So this is the evaluation block. Like you have certain things which are already pre-given to you. Like you can short a list or pass a string to JSON. There are tons of things. So this is how you like evaluate your data and change the output accordingly. So I think I literally covered everything, but I will like show one more thing, which is if and else block. So okay, so let me take a case for failure. This makes sense. So like first we get an output of failure block just to test the things out. Like for example, if it does not provide anything, so it makes sense. Like the here the key is empty, so it should throw error because we are not providing anything. So it is an empty block, and the API expects you provide a explicitly provide a country. So let me just hit a request and see if we fail or not. Okay, yeah, we are failing. You can like I will also put a output block here as well. So just clear up the screen a little bit. So you can see this time like failure block is running. This is where like your request did not get succeeded, or due to some error like server or something like that, you started getting the error. So why I like choose failure case to show you like if and else block. So if you know that every failure or every success contains a status code. So we will use like error status code to just to visualize how like if and else is using. So we will use select again to just filter out that particular error code. So you know that error code is named as status. It generally in form of number. So we can just output data again just to test like it is working or not. Yes, we are getting 404. So what we can do is like we will create a if block here. Like no, we have yes if block over here. So you can see we are getting an if block over here. So what you can do is that instead of directly putting it to the if block, you can just attach it to key, and like you can just have a condition over here. Like it can be condition, it can be like 404 is greater than 500 or 404 is greater than 300. Depending on those case, it will evaluate true or false. For example, here we can use code like status code. So we are storing in a variable in the if block, and we can use snippets to just evaluate. Okay, just we will delete this block. Yeah. So for example, we can test code like the error code we are getting is greater than 400 or not. Just remove everything. So it makes sense. It is not greater than 400. So it makes sense. We will get a false statement because 400 cannot be greater than 4. Sorry, 404. So let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay. So like we have output block here as well. But in the output block, this time we will use like false, like Boolean, not false. So you can see if we run for the first time, yeah, it makes sense. It should be false because here, like for here, here we are getting like 404. As we see, like we are getting a request for 404. So here it is going to evaluate 404 is greater than 400. So no, it is false. That is why false block is running. So like if we change like 500, now you will see instead of false block. And I really want to show one more thing over here. Like if you like pay your attention over here, as we change from 400, you can see the switch over here. As we change like 400 to 500, it will change the nature of it. It knows the output. Like the flows literally knows what the output what the flows output is there. Like it knows like it should always be false, because if you get an error, you know it will be 404 and 400 cannot be greater than that. So as you change for 500, you can see it switched to true, because 404 is greater than 500. And if we run this thing, yep, okay, we will change to Boolean here as well. Okay, so there is a just to tell you, like there is a bug with the true block. It should print true, but you can see but this time true block is running. We have two blocks, like for one for true and one for false. It should like show true, but due to some error it is showing like bug or something like that, true false. So it should started showing true in like sometime. I already reported that bug. But for example, if you again change the thing, it will run the false block. So it just switch to false to true, because depending on the condition of the thing. Oh, sorry, not 5 and not 50, it should be 5. Yeah, I think that's it. And I think there is nothing much more to cover. So yeah, this is like a basic like basic overview of Postman flows. And like you have certain more things, like you can log out the data. And there is one more thing I want to share. This is called list. Okay, yeah. Let me show you a simple example for that. Okay, so you have a like status block. Okay, let me first set up the key. So first you have to tell the list what kind of data you want to store. So we will also use select over here. So to tell, like to just filter out some data. So what is the use of the list is, like for example, if you want to extract multiple data, you can literally create a list about those data and like print out the format with a complete list. For example, uh, from the success, we want just we can say we want something called, let me scroll. Okay, I will just zoom a little bit. From we just need a status code, for example. And from the failure, okay, first we need to set up the block, what kind of thing we are performing, or what kind of thing we are storing in that key. Sorry, not key, that index, because keys it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. So in the first index, we are storing some data. So we have to explicitly tell what things we are. For example, if you add, you can also add a string as well, and you can add your data as well. Like we can just say hey, and this data will add it to the list. Like, but we are using the dynamic data, that's why we are using the select. So in the failure as well, let me connect with the failure. Yep. So in the failure, we are also expecting the status number. So you can see we are creating list. First, we are getting the success code, we are getting the failure code, and I added my personal key with a string with call hey. So we can just output this three data in a bunch. Okay, it should not print because we have the data type as text. It should be like JSON, because we are getting data in JSON. Okay, that is weird behavior. Okay, let me auto detect that thing. Okay. Should be no, it does not make. Okay. Okay, I got the thing why it is not getting the I did a mistake. The reason is that you create a list for the similar kind of data. So here, like that was my bad. Like we are getting number and we added a string. So a single list cannot contain multiple data. So for example, if we want to print out our personal data, we use a number like we use like 4,000 something like that. Now I think it should print out like everything, not in the format of like it should print in format of JSON at least. Okay, it is not printing. That is so weird. Okay, okay, got the point. We are not getting the success case. That this is why. So we are like not getting the success case. This is why the first key is not getting evaluated and not getting stored. So if you not store the first key, how we can expect storing the another keys? So this is the reason we are not getting the first response, because we are intentionally doing failure case. So like just to wind up things, like if we use the select log, select log again, and we can just add one more data over here to just index number. So now it should like give us all the three datas. Yep, it is. Okay, it makes sense because indexing is empty, so that's why it is giving us an empty. So uh, we can use a string as well, I think. Okay, we can't use a string. Okay. Yep. So you can see the data was empty. This is why it was not showing in the number, because when we output the data null data in text format, it should be empty. Like nothing should be there. That's why when we output in like the JSON format, it started saying like null. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, just drop in the
Okay, yeah,
comment section.
amazingly delivered, Pradyumna. It's very cool visualizing our responses. I can already see how useful it can be in multiple scenarios. Like,
Yeah.
it's my first time to be working with flows because it's a relatively a new feature right now. So it's cool to see like images and links popping up in the responses, which we are used to like in JSON format. So yeah, that's cool. Folks, if you have
So
any questions, you can ask him.
So yeah, so like just wind up things a little bit. Like so, like if you talk about like general scenario, when you are working with data, like when like take about the financial market data, talk about the crypto data. So like you are getting data from multiple crypto keys like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, everything. But
Yes. Yeah.
how you can visualize one data is working better or not? So with the raw JSON it's really hard, but in flows you can literally create graphs depending on the percentage change on the, like if you know about the financial data, it has changed. Like there is a data for 24-hour change, 7 days change, 1 month change, 365 day, depending on the data you are getting. So you can literally plot a graph just to see which data are like which key sorry which token is going down, which token is going up, and depending on your output you can literally create a report and just pass over the team. And this is a really good collaborative tool. Like as I mentioned previously, like you have a team for an app developer which is not very fond of backend development, but you can just show him a flow or show him or her a flow, like this is how the data is flowing. It will be much easier for them to like get use the actual data like in the front end or in the Android app or in the iOS app which they are working. So this is an overview of the how this I just touch upon a very small part, but like I will share some resources. When you go over those resources and you can literally see bunch of things, there are lots of sample workspaces created over there, and you can see people are using for DevOps, people are using, financial people are using, like people from the what to say yeah analytical field are using, people from medical field are using, just to
Yeah.
analyze the data better. If you
Yeah,
share the
I
screen I
can.
will.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've used tons of APIs like stocks and cryptocurrency APIs, and they just output so much data, and it's really
Absolutely.
cool so that we can visualize and compare, draw graphs and things like that. And also the things you showed, that the conditional statements, it intelligently senses what the flow will
Absolutely.
be, like if true or false. So that's really good from the flow feature
So
of Postman.
like, yeah, like talking about one advanced stuff, like if you use like conditional, and you can trigger another block, like another request, like another port. For example, you have two APIs, and you want to like use second API. Only your first API give you a certain response. It can be anything. Like for example, uh, uh, like let me give you a real life example.
Yeah.
You want to tweet Dogecoin price, only a Dogecoin price is up 2%. So what you will do, like take an crypto API, create a flow, and create another flow which use a Twitter API. Depending on the condition, you set like if this crypto price increase by 2%, then this flow is only going to trigger. So this way, like literally, you're not coding anymore in JavaScript, and you can literally use the Postman itself to tweet out something. So this is really mind blowing. You can
Yep. Yes,
using
it's
without any
really
programming
powerful.
language.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. Using flows to redirect request, like API request inside the Postman itself. Yeah, that's really
yeah,
good. Yep.
yeah.
So I think if anyone has any questions, we are
You
already
will
above the time limit. You
yeah,
can
just you can share
hit
the
the chat.
screen. I will just share a couple of resources and we can wind up. Thanks.
Yep, sure.
Yep. So, we have like three resources. Like, if you want to get started, you can screenshot them. Like, if you want, like, uh, this is like about the first one is like the official blogs, like official docs, sorry, not blogs. And second one is like there are some tutorials for that. And third one is like Postman hosted a session about the flows itself. So you can just head over to that and learn more about the flows from there. And like if you want to like connect me over the socials, you can just scan this barcode or just search Google Pradumna Saraf. You will get every link from there. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for joining, and it was really
Okay.
pleasure to. Yeah,
Yep. Thank you so much, Pradumna, for the amazing session on flows and visualization. And kudos to using an API that is really easy to use without login and API
yeah,
key. Yeah, that's
yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So yeah, we can wrap this up. Thank you so much, and thanks for joining, folks. We'll see you in the next sessions.